Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Kwapadash. Tell honors my teachers, the apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, where the house of David be born again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharala, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as and still are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the UAPs, right, or also what is known as the UFOs, which in reality are the angels of the Holy Bible. Right? I'm going to speak about this because this month, this Babylonian government here in America is about to release an official report on these chariots of heaven. Now, there's already supposed leaks that pretty much say that this report that comes out, that they're going to reveal that there is no evidence for alien life, but that the UAPs or UFOs are a real thing and that they still need to investigate what they are. Okay, but that pretty much like everything these Edomites say, and when I say Edomites, I'm referring to the Caucasian race that currently rule Babylon the Great, America, and also the world, right? But like I said, everything else they say is a lie, right? Just like this report. They know what they are. Right? The very tops, leaders of this society, this world, understand that these chariots are in fact the angels of the Lord that come to and from the earth, reporting to the Lord what they see. Okay, one such scientist is this man here. When you get into Nerman Berggren, right? He wrote a book called "The Makers of Saturn's Rings," or the Saturn's Ring Makers, or something like that. It's a fairly popular book, but it refers to alien life, right? And he was a NASA scientist. Now, in this interview with the Camelot news agency, he is actually discussing a time when they actually had witnessed these aliens exiting a chariot, right? And he was describing the appearance of one of these aliens, and he said it was a tall, 7 to 20 foot figure, all right, and that he was a black man, right? And the lady says, "Oh, you mean he was like black? Or he was really dark?" He's all, "No, black angels." He was like, he's black, right? So these devils at NASA, the government, the world leaders, they truly know what's going on, right? Because not only do they get the reports and they have the truth of what is actually found out there, right? Like it's reported to them that they cover up with their paid media, but they go through the Bible. They pay billions of dollars in research, right, to investigate Bible prophecy, dig up agricultural sites to confirm things, right? And they know these scriptures here in the Bible that all refer to these chariots of the Lord, which in the Bible they're referred to as the clouds of heaven, mountains of brass, swift clouds, wings of the wind, and so forth and so forth, right? But before we get a little bit more into this article we're about to read, let's go ahead and read this. This is Isaiah 29 and 15. "Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, and their works are in the dark, and they say, Who seeth us, and who knoweth us?" Right? And the people who who are hiding their works are these Edomites, right? The people who currently run the world, who control all the media, right, and control all the narrative of the world right now, man. You see, right now they're pushing a continued agenda of scaring the population and making them believe that these chariots that are being spotted more and more every day, and that's only because the Lord is getting closer to the earth, right? they have a mission to basically demonize these chariots, and they're going to reveal that they're a threat, right? And they're ultimately doing this because they need a weaponized space to get ready for when these angels do show up, because they're going to fulfill prophecy. They literally are going to go to war against God, right? But I'm going to get into that in just a bit. Let's go and read this article so you can see that these devils are pushing orchestrated narrative across the all of the mainstream media to try to scare and frighten people about what these chariots truly are. It says, drivers of the new UFO narrative keep absurdly saying they could be dangerous ETs, right? Extraterrestrials. Continuing, it says, I've been learning as much as I can about the new UFO narrative. The political media class have been pushing in conjunction with the U.S. military to prepare for the Senate report that's due to be released this month. One of the disconcerting things that I've been seeing again and again from all the major players in this new narrative, like Lou Elizondo and Christopher Mellon, is the absurd assertion that not only is it entirely possible that the unknown phenomena allegedly being regularly witnessed by military personnel are extraterrestrial in origin, but that if they are extraterrestrial, they may want to hurt us. Well, you see, the thing is that isn't really that far-fetched, because you see, they're not really extraterrestrial. They're interdimensional beings, right? These chariots, these little tic-tac ships that are seen dotting back and forth across the sky that we witness. Like, here's a video, for example, right? That are able to go into the ocean without stopping, without any damage. See, these are interdimensional beings, right? These are the angels of heaven that come in and out of our dimension, our reality. And they do so because, one, they need to either accomplish a mission, they need to send a message, they need to coerce situations, they need to influence somebody, they need to judge somebody, right? Kill somebody, basically, right? They make all the things upon the earth happen, right? When it is needed, right? There's been many movies also about this, right? That show that humanity is influenced by an outside source. Well, just like this article says, it's true, right? Society.
Splashed. Mark bearing range.
You see that? So that UFO was hovering over the ocean and went into the ocean, right? But yeah, like I was saying, a lot of movies actually reveal the truth when they show that these angels, these outside beings, which we understand here at Great Millstone, that those are actually the angels described in the Bible. They could also be demons, right? Because demons are simply just left-hand angels doing the will of the Lord, right? Through Satan, or through Satan by the will of the Lord, to cause people to go off, to be condemned, so that way they could be that wicked force that is needed. Now, that being said, let's watch some more of these videos.
Every missile base in the U.S. have been repeatedly visited by UFOs. According to two former Air Force officers, they say that they were filming missile tests. They actually captured a disc-shaped object with a dome.
On the screen was the film we had shot. It fired a beam of light at the warhead, went down, shot a beam of light, and then flew out the same way to come in. At which time, the dummy warhead fell out of the frame. And Major Mansman said to me, "What was that?" And I said, "It looks like we got a UFO." And he said, "Lieutenant Jacobs, you are never to speak of this again. It never happened."
Right? And this is why Esau truly is afraid of these things, man.
3 de junio del 2018 fue presentada en un canal de internet esta grabación tomada desde una avioneta donde se transportaban un grupo de paracaidistas italianos. Es de noche.
So here it's talking about some Italians that were flying at night, and they were flying over the clouds, and when they witnessed this light rise up, and here you could see this light. And this was back in 2008, And you can see how the light is actually reflecting off the bottom of the wing, right? So this isn't some like special effect. This is actually a chariot, flying and about to go back into the higher dimension, right? And in doing so, he's actually freaking these Italians out.
Se trata de una esfera luminosa. Incluso se observa que se refleja su luz en el ala de la avioneta. El objeto continúa elevándose a la vez que avanza junto a la aeronave.
So back to this. So you see the narrative that is being pushed is actually true, because you see these angels, when they come back, they're not going to come back to be friends like E.T. or all these other alien movies where the aliens they come in peace. No. When these angels come, which these people are identifying as these unknown phenomena, when they come, they are going to destroy the powers upon the earth, right? The nations of the world, because it is now the end of the world as you know it, right? The kingdom, the world, under the rulership of the Edomite is now coming to a close. We're at the end of what the Lord called and the aeon, the age, right? Because this is the last age of man, and the next age to come is going to be the age of gods, right? Gods being us Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who are going to be given these godlike bodies when we are transformed, and we're going to be co-ruling the world along with the Messiah, right? And the whole world will be made to worship righteously and live upon the earth in a heaven-like state. Right? This is the world to come, people, right? And what you're seeing right now is Esau basically getting the masses ready for this war that they don't even know it's coming. But we know what's going on because we've read the script. We read the Bible. We understand what it says. Continuing. Mellon, the former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, who helped get the ball rolling on the UFOs entering mainstream attention back in 2017 when the leaked 3 Pentagon videos of the New York Times had started that he sees extraterrestrial origins as an entirely possible explanation for these phenomena. Now, check this out. These videos were not leaked by the Pentagon. This was an orchestrated disclosure of these UFOs. Now, this ultimately is going to lead into these Edomites, falsifying some of these reports, and they will more than likely create false UFO appearances using their deceptive technology referenced back in the Blue Beam Project, where they would make holograms in the sky, right? They've done it with their movies, where they psychologically have prepared the world to be afraid of the alien invasion, which we are about to go into, right? Because they need to build up the public's mental state to be ready to be against the coming powers. Because if the whole world understood that the aliens that are coming, right, the so-called aliens, if they understood that those in fact were the angels of the Bible and that the Messiah was along with them, then the whole world would be waiting with bated breath, rejoicing and praising the Lord's return, right? But that's not what these devils want. They literally are going to fight against the Lord, like I said, because that is what is prophesied in the Bible, which we'll get in just a bit. Continuing, it says, "We don't even understand how you could do something like that," Mellon said in a recent interview with CTV News. In the inexplicable maneuvers and features these aircraft supposedly demonstrate, we don't even understand the science behind it. Not like somebody's a couple generations of fighter jets behind us. I mean, this is a whole difference of kind, not degree. So you see, and that's because the angels, they're dealing with spirit, right? What does the scripture say? For the chariots of Pharaoh are flesh and bone and not spirit, right? Because you see, like I said, the angels, these UFO, so-called UFOs, they're actually in the spiritual realm. They're in a higher dimension, right? And that's where they could come in and out of our realm, right? Because we are stuck in the third dimensional plane here upon Earth, right? When we are given these new bodies, we're going to be able to ascend into the higher dimensions, just like these angels do, just like these chariots do, and we're going to have that power, that ability, right? Here's a tweet from that same guy, from Christopher Mellon. He says, in this new interview with CTV of Canada, I had the opportunity to clarify my views on some of the current UAP issues. And it goes on and says, asked why the pilots of mysterious aircraft with incomprehensible scientific advancement might want to monitor the U.S. military, Mellon said the following: well, probably for the same reason we do. We understand what kind of threat we could pose to them should a conflict arise, right? Should a conflict arise, they want to be able to engage us effectively, defeat us rapidly, at minimum cost of life and treasure, just as we would on the other side. We do similar kinds of things. We don't have vehicles quite like this, but we're certainly very actively monitoring military forces of other countries, right? And this guy is somewhat right about this, right? Because the angels, when they come here, and they, like that in that video I just showed you, where they said that there was that chariot that went and disabled that nuclear warhead, and that there's many military bases that these chariots show up at. The reason why they do that, the reason why they keep a close eye on Esau, these Edomites, right, is because the nation of Edom has been permitted to rule over the world for a short period. And in doing so, there is certain things that they cannot do. One of those things being that they cannot wipe out the entire Israelite race, right? They'll be stopped, they'll be thwarted, right? And also they cannot start the World War III until the Lord is ready, right? This is why you have certain things that get destroyed, certain things are delayed. This is why these Edomites are being monitored, right? Because the angels are keeping a lid on them until the time of the second coming of the Messiah, right? Then, when that happens, then the Lord's going to allow all these things to go through. And again, this isn't just for, to monitor the Edomites. The angels do this with everything, man, right? You didn't get a job, it's because the Lord didn't want you to get that certain type of job. You didn't meet this person, it's because the Lord didn't want you to be with that person, right? The angels are in charge of getting all this done. The Lord commands, the angels perform. It's that simple. It's what the Bible says, period. Let's continue. The notion that UFOs could pose a threat to humans, whether their alleged operators are from our own world or from another, is being promoted by the main driver of this strange new plotline, and it is being enthusiastically lapped up by many UFO enthusiasts who see framing these phenomenon as a national security threat as the best way to get mainstream power structures to take them seriously and disclose information to the public. This is bothersome for a couple of separate reasons, right? And like I said, man, see, though this writer of this article, right, he thinks that this is being, blown out of proportion, and that these aliens don't pose a threat. Well, he is wrong about that, but he's right about that the propaganda machine is out there pushing this narrative. But again, even though he is inadvertently correct that the angels, when they come, they're going to be doing nothing nice for these Edomites, right? They're going to be taken out of power viciously. But that being said, the way that the UFOs are being presented to the world is in a false narrative, right? And the reason is, like I said earlier, these Edomites need to have the whole world in one mind, come together to fight this invading force of the Lord, right? Just like Reagan said at the UN speech he had, that imagine if there came an outside force, that we would all come together, right? And we would understand that we were all one, right? See, that's what's going on, right? These Edomites, who are the main target of the Lord when he comes back, they can't, they don't want to be there by themselves facing against the Lord. So what are they going to do? They're going to tell the whole world that they're all in trouble and that the Lord's going to come back for everybody and that we all need to fight, right? You know what it's like? It's like when you have that little wimpy kid who finally who picks a fight with a bully, And instead of having to face that bully by himself, he's there telling his friends, "Oh, did you hear what he called your mama? Did you hear what he said about your sister? Oh, let's get him, let's get him." See, that's what Edom is trying to do right now. He's trying to rouse up the entire world to come up against the Lord. And why is that? Because he is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Now, these Edomites, these Caucasians, are the Edomites prophesied to be in rulership of the world, and who will ultimately come up against the world to fight, right? And this is prophesied in Revelations 12:7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and the angels were cast out with him. Now you see that? So the war in heaven is ultimately going to be this space war that's going to, for example, happen. This is why the U.S. military has created the Space Force, right? And they have these I'm sure they have these military planes that can fight in space, because they will be fighting against the Lord when he comes back, right? It's going to be like what you see in Independence Day, where you have these U.S. ships, these ships around, these airplanes around the world fighting alien aircraft. But what's going to happen is they're going to be destroyed almost immediately, right? It tells you that in the scriptures. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 5:2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, for so far beyond all that they looked for, right? And this is talking about the world, man. When the world sees how us Israelites, how we are going to be saved out of the coming end of the world, right? The Armageddon, right? And we're going to be taken up into the chariots. Everybody's going to be amazed by that, right? And it's going to be so far beyond all that they looked for, man. They're going to be like, man, this only happened in movies, right? They're going to be saying things like that, right? Now, one thing I wanted to show you is that there is a video that shows how these devils are going to ultimately try to get this world to fight against the angels, right? And there's this video. Let me actually get it real quick. There it goes.
When I was a corporate manager of Fairchild Industries in 1974 through 77, I met the late Dr. Werner von Braun in early 74. At that time, von Braun was dying of cancer, but he assured me that he would live a few more years in order to tell me about the game that was being played. That game being the effort to weaponize space, to control the Earth from space and space itself. Von Braun's purpose in life during the last years of his life, his dying years, was to educate the public and decision makers about why space-based weapons are a dumb, dangerous, destabilizing, too costly, unnecessary, unworkable, undesirable idea. The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in 74, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. We were told that they had killer satellites. We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it, he said, is a lie. He did.
So this is Dr. Carol Rosen, right? Like as you've seen, she was one of the assistants of Werner von Braun, right? And Werner von Braun, actually, let me see. This lady's basically has gone over the entire, disclosure movements around the world. It's who are out there trying to, say that, hey, these aliens are true and that the government needs to come out. But they ultimately don't know what's going on, right? They understand that there are aliens out there, but they actually don't even understand what those aliens truly are. They don't understand that the angels are these UFOs, man. They don't understand that what they're seeing and what they want to be released is ultimately their destruction, right? There may be some Israelites amongst this group here, but for the most part, these are Edomites up here, man. And what they're fighting to get exposed is their destruction, right? The coming, the coming of an end to their empire, right? That being the angels that are in fact these UFOs. Now, that man that she was talking about, Werner von Braun, right? He's the man, for the most part, who created NASA. Okay, now he wasn't just an ordinary man. Werner von Braun was a Nazi scientist. Okay, and after America and Russia and the Allied powers supposedly destroyed the Nazis, they, for the most part, picked up a bunch of these scientists and brought them back here to the to the States. Russia took their scientists they wanted, and America brought their scientists, right? And the story goes is that on the files of all these scientists, that the CIA agents would put paper clips on the doctors and scientists that they wanted. Hence the project called Project Paperclip, which initiated the coming over of these Nazi scientists. Well, Werner von Braun, when he came here to the United States, he continued the Nazi space program and basically did it for the United States. And this is where we get our rockets. And this is why this man here understood the narrative that will be pushed by these Edomites, right? He understood who these UFOs truly are, right? The Nazis were well understood the true narrative of the Bible. In fact, Hitler himself understood that the Negroes were the true Jews, and they understood who the so-called Jews actually were, right? And he himself being one of them, right? Being an Amalekite, right? The people who would deceive the whole world into making them think that they were the Jews. Well, I digress, right? So back to Werner von Braun and his Nazi space, program, which eventually became NASA, right? He created the system because ultimately, as he told Carol, they were going to weaponize space, right? And when he said it's all a lie, the lie that this man was talking about is that the reason why space is being weaponized, it's not being weaponized to control all of Earth and all of space. No, it is being created so that way these devils, these Edomites, can fight against the Lord and continue to stay in power. Plain and simple, right? Because we're going to get into some scriptures that's going to tell you when the Messiah comes back, he's going to come back in these UFOs. This is Acts 1:9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Right? And this is talking about Yahweh Shai, right? When he was taken up into these chariots, into these UFOs, right? Which is referred to here as a cloud, right? And continuing, it says, and while they looked steadfastly towards heaven, as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, right? These are angels. These are angels that stood by the apostles, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahweh Shai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Right? And there you go. Because they understand, because they told the apostles that the Messiah is going to come back exactly how he left. He's going to come back in this chariot. Right? And here's another scripture where the Messiah himself explained what would happen, on his second coming. This is Matthew 24:30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man, right? That's the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Right? And this is what they ultimately are going to see, man. They're going to see the Messiah come amongst a fleet, a whole sky full of chariots, and the Messiah is going to be there with them, right? This is what the world is in store for, man. This is what is coming upon the earth, right? And these devils, they want you to believe that this is an invading, maniacal, evil extraterrestrial force. They want you to think that they're little gray men with big buggy eyes, but that's not what it is. These are the angels and the Messiah coming back to send judgment upon the earth and to destroy those who will not be saved because they did not wake up in time and they didn't do what was right to be saved, right? But like it tells you here in Ecclesiasticus 5:7, make no tarrying to turn to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Right? The day of vengeance is the end of the world, Armageddon, right? When the Messiah comes back. And when he comes back, this is ultimately what he's going to bring. He's going to bring an alien invasion and a lake of fire upon earth, which the lake of fire is going to ultimately come from those nuclear missiles being launched during World War III, right? So again, the only way you're going to escape this Sakyam, and the only way you're going to escape this people, is if you wake up, you repent from what you're doing, and you start finding out about the Bible. You start learning about the truth, so that way you could be set free and seek salvation as it's supposed to be. Okay, so I just wanted to touch upon this Sakyam. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Until the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem El Shai, Bashem Kapradash. The Lord is my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.